The opinions expressed are those of the show's host and not the staff or management of Port St. Lucie Broadcasters. Any reproduction without written consent of WSTU and WPSL is strictly prohibited. Now it's time for Quality of Life Radio, brought to you by Cigna. Here are your hosts, Gary Owen and Tom Bouvier.
Hello and good morning to all of our friends out there listening in on this beautiful Tuesday morning before Thanksgiving. And it's November 24th. I am your host, Gary Owen.
And I'm your co-host, Tom Bouvier.
And together we are bringing you the Quality of Life Radio Show. It's brought to you by Cigna Medicare. We appreciate their sponsorship. And by the way, we are streaming live on Facebook here in the WSTU radio station. Also, you can catch us on live on Facebook and also WSTUtv.com and airing simultaneously on WSTU 1450 and WPSL 1590 AM. And also, for those of you who are Alexa fans, you can catch us via TuneIn. Tom, why are you and I alone here in the studio?
Because our guest is calling in today.
He is on the line waiting to get plugged in.
But to answer the question of why we do what we do, we bring relevant content to our listeners. We feature and support and showcase our local guests, which we have on the in the call in today. And we're here to educate and inform people so that they can live a stress-free life regarding insurance plans.
Take a look at my receding hairline and can you tell if I'm living a stress-free life or not?
We take the stress off of people and sometimes
put it on ourselves.
Yeah, that's right. We carry the load.
And by the way, this was a very nice cold morning, waking up to 59 degrees on the Treasure Coast this morning. So I know we've got some colder weather ahead, and we're excited to have some change in the weather for sure. So speaking of relevant content, we are, as we mentioned earlier, our featured guest is John Dalton, and he's not in the studio with us this morning, so he is calling in. And John, can you hear us this morning?
I sure can, guys. Good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, sir. Good morning. And John, we're going to spend the next 15 minutes chatting with John. In the second part of the show, we're going to share our knowledge and information about important insurance solutions and some of the pitfalls to avoid, basically insurance straight talk, Tom, transparency and good old-fashioned simplicity that will enhance and improve your quality of life, because it's our mission, Tom, to do what?
Our mission is to simplify insurance planning so that people can live the stress-free life that they deserve, and insurance has that ability to cause stress in so many people's lives.
And we're going to talk about some of that stress. We've got some letters from some folks out there, our listening audience, and I want to share with you some of that on the second part of our show. But before we go to John, I want to give a shout out to Captain Jim in Port St. Lucie. He had listened to our show last week, and he was confused, like so many, about Medicare and what to do. And he served, and by the way, we certainly appreciate his service. He was a captain in the United States Army. He was an aviator. He flew the Hueys, the first tour in Vietnam, and the phenomenal Behemoth Chinook helicopters, the second tour in Vietnam. So we truly appreciate you, Jim, and thank you for your service. He was on TFL, so TRICARE for Life, and want to know what he should be doing. And I told him, Jim, do absolutely nothing. You are on the best plan possible. And he said, Gary, it would be beneficial for you if you could explain to other veterans in our community their options and considerations. So we're gonna take that opportunity, Jim, to do that on the second part of our show, and we appreciate your feedback, sir. So we're coming back to my friend John Dalton. John, how is life treating you this morning, sir?
Life is treating me very, very well. I can't complain even a little bit. It's a beautiful, chilly morning here in Stuart, Florida, and ready for a great Thanksgiving, albeit probably a little smaller than we normally would have.
So, John, I have a question for you. Well, by the way, folks, for those of you that are listening and watching live, John Dalton is the president of Optimum RTS. John, I know what RTS is, but we want to share to the audience what RTS means, and then I'm going to ask you a very important question.
Sure, absolutely. Optimum RTS, the RTS stands for Recruiting, Training, Staffing. My company opened up about 7 years ago. Not about 7 years, over 7 years now. Funny that this show is in regards to insurance, because the ability for me to open up my company was based solely on insurance. I had the idea to open my company back in '99. I've been in recruiting since 1991. In 1999, when I decided and I put a business plan together to open up my company where I'd go out, work with small companies to bring in top quality staff in the medical, insurance, financial, and legal fields. I went to Blue Cross Blue Shield to get insurance, and they said, "Sure, John, we'd love to give you and your family insurance. However, because of the fact that you have asthma, we're just going to preclude or exclude the asthma for the first 3 years." So that kept me tethered to employer-based healthcare when really I was an entrepreneur that whole time. In 2012, Obama is in office, ACA goes into effect, pre-existing conditions are taken off the table. And that gave me the ability to leap away from employer-based healthcare and get into and open my own company, Optimum RTS. So it's a great correlation between your show, your business, and where I am and what I'm doing today.
Absolutely, John. And by the way, remind me, Tom, there are people that are tuning in and listening because John is on the telephone calling in. Our listening audience isn't going to be able to hear him. Is it on Facebook Live or is it on YouTube? Do you know which one?
The Facebook.
Facebook.
Live.
All right. So for those of you that are watching live on Facebook, obviously we know that you're not going to be able to hear our guest on the phone because you called in, not in our studio. So bear with us. But anyway, John, the first question I wanted to ask you, this is probably one of the most important questions that I could ask you this morning on the show, is what are you thankful for?
I am thankful for
Gary Owen?
the ability to help lead, mentor, train, and really work with and hold my community up around me. Being able to assist people in any way possible, and really the results and seeing that happen is what I'm thankful for, along with my family and friends and health, of course.
Absolutely.
But giving back to the community is really what brings me pride.
That's important, man. Being able to give in life, it's not what we do and earn. It's about the lives that we affect. And I know, and obviously, I know in full disclosure, I know John because we're part of a networking group together, and it's called the Local Boardroom. And we have multiple local professionals and business owners that work with one another and refer to one another. And certainly I've used John's services, was in a bind and was able to give John a call, and he helped us out with some support staff. And John, we still appreciative of that. But the second question I want to ask you is, what is because we have a lot of diverse people listening and watching to us this morning, and many of them are small business owners such as myself. So what would be the number one reason an employer should use an agency such as yours?
That's really a great question. It's one that's often overlooked. The main reason that a company will come to me is because they've come to the realization of just how much money they lose by trying to recruit candidates on their own. Your business is a small business growing. You have hundreds of agents all throughout the state, but still you're in your office running it on a daily basis, Gary.
Yep.
So as you're running that business, your main focus is to really reach out into your community and help those folks that need to make a change on their insurance or need advice on their insurance. And every time you write one of those policies, that's how your business is going to make its nickels. Every time an attorney is working with a client and they have billable hours, they're making money. Every time a CPA is working on someone's books or finances or giving advice or consulting, they're making money. Every time a dog groomer is grooming a dog, they're making money. That's hard dollars. Every time somebody makes a widget, they make $1. Soft dollars is where my services come in. When you have to stop doing what makes your money into your business, you're actually losing money. So it makes it much more financially viable to call my company, Optimum RTS, and ask for my assistance, because that's how I make my dollars. So it allows you to continue to deal with your potential insured, those you're giving advice to, the attorneys that have their clients, the women or men who are doing dog grooming, or any position there in between, because they can still focus on what is revenue generating. So the cost of my services is only a fraction of what someone's annual salary is. And the money that a business can make during the same time of that job search far offsets the costs. So let me give you an example. If you were to run an ad for a front desk person or any position in your office right now or in your business, when you run that ads on Indeed or Zip or Craigslist or whatever sources you want to use, you come back in Monday morning and you have 150 resumes. How long does it take you to go through each one of those resumes? 20 seconds?
Too long.
When you go through all those resumes, now you've lost 3-4 hours. Now you start calling on some of the resumes that are going to go ahead and be good. How long does that take? Another 2-3 minutes? Then you set interviews. You set 10 interviews up to have folks come in. You set aside an hour for each one of those interviews. Let's say you set aside a half hour. Now that's another 5 hours. Of the 10 hours you set up, the 10 interviews you set up, only 5 of those folks are going to show up, which means now you have a completely dead hour or half hour, however much you set aside. You could say, well, I'm going to switch gears and I'll go back to doing what I was doing, checking emails. But how much time of that half hour do you waste waiting for that person to come? How much time does it take for you to start up a new project again? So you can lose, literally tens or hundreds of hours doing a job search for someone that is going to be a $12 an hour person in your office, a $20 an hour person in your office.
Very true.
How much revenue is attached to that time? Everybody needs to know what they build themselves out on. An attorney might be $200-$300 an hour. A plumber might be $50 an hour. A dog groomer might be $20 an hour. How much money did you lose during that time? And if you hire a person and it doesn't work out, start the whole process again.
That's right.
Or if you don't find the right person the first week, start the whole process again. So that's where using an agency really comes in. And Optimum RTS understands that. It's our job to understand your job. So our first step would be to come into your office, Gary, really get a feel for who Gary Owens is and who Owen Insurance is. Walk around your office and see what type of employees are there in your office. Ask probing questions about your best employee, about the last employee that didn't work out, who you promoted, who isn't getting promoted, so we can understand the dynamics of the person you're looking for. This way, when I provide you a candidate, they've already been pre-screened. Now you set apart a half hour to do an interview and the person actually shows up with all of the have you, can you, did you skill set already in hand. And it makes your process of hiring a lot easier.
Absolutely.
If that's the why companies will come and use Optimum RTS most frequently. And I have companies calling me every day.
And John, we're going to go to a quick break, but there's one more question I'm going to ask you when we come back from break. And you are listening to the Quality of Life radio show, and we are sponsored by Cigna Medicare. You're listening to WSTU, the Quality of Life radio show, and we will be right back. Welcome back to the Quality of Life Radio Show. This is your host, Gary Owen, and co-host Tom the Boov Bouvier. And we're just a couple days away from Thanksgiving, 2 days, in fact. And I'm sure most of you have got the turkeys are fattening them up and getting ready to grease them up and stuff them and put them in the oven.
That's right.
So we've got John Dalton with us. He's the owner of Optum RTS, and we're chatting with him about his business and what he does for small business owners and with his agency. And John, the last question I wanted to ask you before we move on to the second part of our show, and then of course I want you to share your contact information with our listeners and viewers, is what sets you apart from your competitors, and what's the main distinction that you have?
Excellent. Thanks for asking me that question, Gary and Tom. Thank you so much for having me here.
Sure.
The main differentiator between Optimum RTS and many of my competitors, first and foremost, is going to be I'm a locally owned business. I moved into Stuart in 1984. I understand my community. I've worked all throughout South Florida, from Martin County all the way down into Miami. And my company is my company. I built it on my ideas. I built it on my ideologies, which is always to give back to our community, understand what our community needs, understand what my clients need. I am not a franchise. I am not beholden to anybody else. When I talk to my clients, they are talking to the owner, and that gives me the opportunity to pivot to my clients' needs much, much quicker than many of the other companies that are out there, which are excellent companies. I won't say anything bad about them, but their ideologies, their rules are all driven by a corporate office that might be located in Toledo, Ohio, that has no understanding of how Florida actually works.
Right.
So my mere size allows me to tack very quickly to my clients' needs to make sure that we're able to provide those top quality candidates in a time that's going to be reasonable. Also, I don't guarantee. Many people ask me, well, how soon do you think we're going to fill this front desk person? They want to hear me say in a day. They want to hear me say in 2 days. But the answer really comes back to when the right candidate has come. It's my job to understand your job. And in doing that, I want to make sure I have the have you, can you, did you, and the personality of this candidate right. So it's more important for me to send the right person when I have them than it is to send any person that comes along, because that still steals your time.
That's
and
right.
Steals those soft dollars.
Well, John, let me ask you. So obviously, I highly recommend you. Obviously, I've used your
Thank you.
services and your company, and we appreciate what you've done for us. So for those listening out there who need to fill your positions and empty positions you have at your office, certainly you might want to give John Dalton a call, his team of experts. And John, what is the best way for them to reach out to you and contact you, sir?
Sure. My email is very, very easy. It's John, JOHN, at Optimum RTS. That's OPTIMUM, R for recruiting, T for training, S for staffing.com. You can find me on the internet at just OptimumRTS.com. And my phone number is 561-408-2192. John Dalton at Optimum RTS, or just John at Optimum RTS, will get you right to me by email.com, of course.
All right, John, share your phone number one more time before we say goodbye.
561-408-2192. That's our number.
Fantastic, John. We appreciate you being with us this morning and wishing you and your family and your loved ones a very happy, prosperous, wealthy Thanksgiving Day.
Thank you so much, Tom, Gary. Thank you very much for having me on the show today.
All right, buddy.
Bye-bye.
Take care. All right, Tommy. Now that I've asked him, what he's most thankful for, I'm going to ask you, what are you most thankful for? Because we're going to talk about here towards the end of the show after the second break, 10 Thanksgiving fun facts that you probably don't know. You thinking?
I am thinking, and I began thinking when you asked John, because I kind of anticipated this. And I know it's a cliche to say that I'm just thankful for everything, but I have so many things to be thankful for. I need to narrow it down, of course, for the show. And I would say I'm thankful for, of course, for my family, for the love of my life, Deborah, for so many family and friends that have been with me all throughout my life. But I can say that 2 years ago, I met you through Deborah, and we had conversations, and I transitioned from being a captive insurance agent at a really good company that I did a lot and learned a lot about Medicare, particularly. And I was able to get my other license to join you as an independent broker. February 1st will be 2 years.
Whoop, whoop.
And I'll tell you what, and it's been fun, exciting. I haven't looked back, haven't even thought about looking back, I burned the bridges, I burned the ships. There was no going back. I was going forward no matter what it took. And of course, any insurance agent is launching out as independent brokers who want to help people and be able to represent many companies for their clients. You have to sustain yourself until your client base builds up. And I did a lot of hard work. You supported me so much in so many ways. I'm forever indebted to you launching my independent business and career. And really, I'm just so thankful I'm here. It's almost 2 years. Things are going great. And I keep thinking, man, what about a year from now? What about 2 years from now? I'll be even more thankful for that. But I thank you, Gary. And truly, that is something I thank God every day for, having met you, divine appointment, so to speak, and a career
Yes.
that really is who I am. This is the type of business, and all of the skills that have brought me to where I was at 2 years ago, all the experiences, all the knowledge, all the desires culminated in joining with Owen Insurance Group.
Absolutely.
And just a quick little plug, if there are independent agents out there or agents looking for a home, a place where you can get support, encouragement, training, a nice, beautiful, big local office that has a seat with your name on it and you don't even know it yet, give us a call, because that's what
Very
we
well
do.
said.
Thank you. We help bring people, whatever your skill level, if you're lots of experience, but just need a new place, a new home, Owen Insurance Group, please consider that. And certainly give us a call at 772-210-1020 and talk to Gary or myself, and we'd be happy to sit down and talk to you. But that's what I'm thankful for. And I know it's a little long-winded, but
I appreciate it, Tom.
Okay,
Thank you for the kind
absolutely.
words. And
Absolutely.
also, the growth that I've seen over the last 2 years, the trajectory is straight to the moon. So what I've seen you overcome, and your experience and your education, the information you provide to your clients, is phenomenal. So kudos to you and congratulations to you. And I'm thankful to God and country, obviously, first and foremost, and my family and Kathy, my daughter, Caitlin. You, our listening audience, and those of you that are watching, we appreciate your support and support of Owen Insurance Group and our show, the Quality of Life Radio Show. What we do because of the passion that we have in our hearts, and obviously it's important that we do the right thing all the time. In case in point was Captain Jim, when he called me last week after last Tuesday's radio show, and asked what he should do. And we get this all the time. We get these questions. Gary, this is what I'm on. What is your recommendation? What should I do? We've heard you and Tom on the show. You guys know what you're talking about, and honest, you got a reputation. So we want to work with you. And I asked Kathy this morning in the office, what is the percentage of people that call us? And Tom, I'm going to ask you this question.
Okay.
I'm going to ask you, and then we'll share with the audience that happens to be listening. Audience, keep your ears closed until I ask Tom this very important question. The percentage that you see, Tom, of the clients that come to us and we review their plans, whether it's Medicare, life, long-term care, health insurance, whatever it might be, the percentage of people that we say to them, stay right where you are and don't do anything, and don't let anyone talk you out of what you have. What's that percentage?
Great question, Gary. And that does happen. I'm just going to put a 40%, and I know it's a range, 40 to 50% of the people. I'd say more like 40, because I think for about 60% of the people out there, I'm able to research, or we are able, when we have the clients, find something that for them to truly consider. And some it's really like black and white. I mean, my God, no brainer, go with this new plan. But probably 40%
Wow.
is about my experience.
All right. Well, his number came in higher than my number. I'm saying about 20% to
Okay.
25% of the clients that I personally work with, we see that, hey, listen, stay right where you're at. That means that 80 or 75%, I'd say it's use that number. I think it's a good round number. 75% of consumers out there who are currently on a plan need to have, in fact, everyone needs to have their plan reviewed, but 75% of them that we're saying, hey, we feel that if we put you on this plan, it's going to save you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars each year. And I'm going to read to you something that's really important that came in this morning. I had to print it off because I wanted to share it with you. It comes from the Kaiser Family Foundation, which is a nonprofit organization. But I'm going to share some information with you about that. And I'm going to share some information with you. This letter that we got that I printed off too this morning from Jerry. And I'm not going to mention any names. I'm not going to mention any company names, but I want the listening audience and the viewing audience, those of you who are on Medicare, it doesn't matter if you're on a supplement plan or a Medicare Advantage plan. And I know that probably half of you out there listening in don't know the difference.
That's correct.
They don't know the difference between a supplement and Advantage plan.
They name it the same.
And the lady that called this morning, I'm checking on this supplement plan that, ma'am, that wasn't a supplement plan that you was on. It's actually a Medicare Advantage plan. So we're going to kind of dive deeper into Advantage and supplement. So those of you who are on Medicare, because listen, we are right now in the middle of
AEP, annual enrollment period,
and
for
it's
Medicare.
important that you get it right, because the decisions that you make today before December 7th locks you in into the plan that you're in, if it's a Medicare Advantage plan. So we're going to share some information with you about the supplement versus Advantage. And then we're going to share some fun facts, Tom, 10 Thanksgiving fun facts that you probably don't know. So I think that's going to be kind of fun. So before our next break, we've got about 4 minutes before the break. I want to read you this letter from a client who, her name is Jerry, and she has cancer, and she says must return to original Medicare during Medicare annual enrollment. Let me repeat that again. I got diagnosed with cancer, and I must return to original Medicare during the Medicare annual enrollment. Says, Gary, last year I made a mistake when I retired and enrolled in a Medicare Advantage PPO plan, because I understood from talking with retired coworkers and friends that this PPO plan was like a Medicare supplement plan. Boy, was I wrong. I need out, and she capitalized the word now. I've been diagnosed with lung cancer, and many of the cancer specialists and even the facility that specializes in proton therapy to help minimize my lung cancer tumor are out of network. And this is costing me a fortune. Right now, I have an $80,000 proton therapy bill, which has not been paid. $80,000 bill that has not been paid by the Medicare Advantage plan. I've been advised from my cancer facility to return to traditional Medicare, or she means original Medicare, same thing, with a Medicare supplement to help pick up my Medicare out of pocket. But when I called Medicare, they said I needed to return to original Medicare. Please advise which Medicare plan to return to original or traditional Medicare. Signed, Jerry. So it's important to know that original Medicare, as I mentioned earlier, and traditional Medicare are the same thing. So doctors traditionally use the word traditional Medicare instead of original Medicare, whereas our industry uses the original Medicare, the terminology. The annual enrollment period will be your only time to make that change. It will be simple for you to enroll in original or traditional Medicare and a new Medicare supplement plan, or it's also, Tom, known as a Medigap plan, without having to answer underwriting questions. Only because this is your first year, Jerry, to be out of your Medicare supplement plan, or your first year to pick a Medicare Advantage plan. So we call it the trial right period. So lucky for her that when she turned 65 here recently, enrolled in the Medicare Advantage PPO plan, within 12 months, you can disenroll and then enroll in a Medicare supplement plan, guaranteed issue, because it is your one trial right period that you have. Not many people know about, Tom. And so many people use it. And conversely, people who are on a Medicare supplement plan who then go to an Advantage plan, they also have a trial right period as well, 12-month trial right period, to leave that Advantage plan anytime and go back to their supplement plan. This is what Tom the Bouvier and Gary Owen and our team of licensed agents do. We sit down with you and we holistically have approach to your Medicare or life or health insurance planning. So you'll find this information in the Medicare and You handbook. So obviously it's very boring to read. So if you have insomnia at night and you need to go to sleep, pick up the Medicare and You handbook and you'll read this information about the trial right period, and it will put you to sleep like a baby.
It's called paper melatonin.
I like that. I'm gonna have to.
You don't have to swallow.
That's a very hard pill to swallow, Tom.
It's a big book too.
I mean, and I'm not going to go through the aspects of what you can do or what you can't do during the Medicare AEP period, the annual election period, or the open enrollment period. It's actually the AEP period. Annual enrollment period from December 15th to December 7th. But so many people don't realize, they think that you can just go from a Medicare supplement plan to a Medicare Advantage plan during the open enrollment period without asking underwriting questions, without having to be asked underwriting questions. And that's simply not the case. So we're going to talk to you after the commercial about the other article that I wrote, that I read this morning from the Kaiser Family Foundation. And this is great information for our listening audience. And you are listening to WSTU 1450 AM, WPSL 1590 AM, the Quality of Life radio show with Gary Owen and Tom Bouvier. And hang tight, we will be right back. And welcome back to the Quality of Life Radio Show. This is Gary Owen and Tom Bouvier. And at break, Tom brought to my attention a very good idea, Tom. What was that you mentioned they should do?
Well, you mentioned cancer, and besides having, a Medicare supplement, original Medicare, it's very important that people, especially before 65, to call us and talk to us about a cancer policy. And what that is just a small monthly premium that would give you a big chunk of money, say 10, 20, 30, $50,000 paid in full, tax-free upon the first diagnosis of cancer. Unfortunately, it seems like Debbie and I and other colleagues of mine, we're hearing this person just got diagnosed. This person just got. It seems like almost every week I hear a new cancer situation. And what would an extra $20, $30, $40,000 in your pocket do? It would help you to pay the deductible on a plan. It would help you to, keep some income if you had to, focus on your healing.
Absolutely.
Rather than stress about money. So it's called a cancer policy. They also have critical illness policies. Give us a call. We'll talk to you about them.
And by the way, you should be calling Owen Insurance Group at 772-210-1020 for information for an insurance review. And to Tom's point, I mean, yes, let's say you have insurance, whether you're under 65 or you're over 65 and you have Medicare, that is not going to pay for you to travel if you need to go, let's say, to MD Anderson, we're Sloan Kettering, we're Johns Hopkins, the top 3 cancer hospitals in the nation. That money, that tax-free money that you can get from that cancer plan is a great idea to purchase and to invest in. In fact, I have 2 cancer plans because, listen, we know the grim statistics of cancer, and 1 out of 2 men will be diagnosed with cancer, and 1 out of 3 women will be diagnosed with cancer in their lifetime. So it's important to be prepared and to have the financial wherewithal to continue paying your bills while you're taking care of your health.
I had a recent client who just turned 65 last April, got her on a Medicare Advantage plan. We even talked about a cancer policy. She said, my father passed away from cancer. My sister passed away. I think maybe I should look into it. I gave her the price. Delayed. 3 months later, came back to me, unfortunately, diagnosed with cancer. And it was just, she said, I guess I can't get that policy now, can I? I said, unfortunately, no. So
procrastination.
Do it before. Do it while you're healthy.
It's not good, people, to procrastinate. So real quick, before I go over the 10 Thanksgiving fun facts that we want to share with you all, this morning I downloaded was an article in this morning's Kaiser Family Foundation, KHN, the Kaiser Health Network. Bernard J. Wolfson wrote this article, and he says, Medicare open enrollment is complicated. Here's how to get good advice. Well, instead of reading you the 3 pages, all I can do is tell you, call Owen Insurance Group at 772-210-1020.
Great advice.
To get the great advice that you need. And listen, I've been here for 34 years on the Treasure Coast. It's important that you work with an agency, and we're going to talk about that quickly here, but an agent or an agency that has been in a business and served the community for a long period of time, and who has the education and the experience to be your guide and not there to make a quick buck, because I'll tell you, there are plenty of those types of people out there. And to this Bernard Wolfson's point from KFF, he says, if you've been watching TV lately, you may have seen actor Danny Glover or Joe Namath, the 77-year-old NFL legend, urging you to call an 800 number to get fabulous extra benefits from Medicare. Just shut him up already. All right. That's what I'm telling you. Just shut him up already. There are plenty of other Medicare ads too, many set against a red, white, and blue background meant to suggest officialdom. Though if you stand about a foot from the television screen, you might see the fine print saying they are not endorsed by any government agency. Rather, they are health insurance call centers aggressively vying for a piece of the lucrative market. So this is what Medicare's annual enrollment period has become. has come to. Beneficiaries, people who are 65 or older, or those on disability, have until December 7th to join, switch, or drop their health or drug plans. That will take effect January 1. For all its complexity and nearly endless options, Medicare fundamentally boils down to two choices. Tom, which are they?
Medicare Advantage and Medicare Supplement.
Yep, or traditional or fee-for-service or original Medicare, which then you buy a supplement plan. He goes on to say the right choice for you depends on your financial wherewithal and current health status, and on future health scenarios that are often difficult to foresee and unpleasant to consider. He doesn't say it's based on what your neighbor has. He doesn't say it's based on what the TV ads say, but he says it's based on your current health status and financial wherewithal and future health scenarios. So I'm going to read you there's just too much information. So I'm going to pick out some of the highlighted points that I think is important and incumbent for me to share with you this morning. I've been doing this for 33 years and my head still spins, says Jill Selby. She's a corporate vice president of strategic initiatives for SCAN. And she says it's definitely a college course. It's convoluted. It's confusing. It's Medicare is a maze, and trying to do it on your own, trying to take the road alone is not the right course of action. And she says, it explains why airwaves and mailboxes are jammed with all that promotional material from people offering to help you pass the course, the college course, that many fail. Many are, listen, this is a big, I have this highlight. I thought this was probably one. There are two important highlights of this missive. Many are touting Medicare Advantage, which is administered by private health insurers. It might save you money, but not necessarily. So for those of you who are on a Medicare Advantage plan, listen tightly. It might save you money, but not necessarily. Research suggests that in some cases, it costs the government more than administering traditional Medicare. Industry insiders and outside experts agree that most people should not navigate Medicare alone. It's just too complicated for the average individual. If you choose traditional Medicare, consider a Medicare supplement if you can afford it. Without it, you're liable for 20% of your physician and outpatient costs. And a hefty hospital deductible, by the way, for 2021, Tom, is $1,485. And there's no cap on how much you pay out of your own pocket. If you need prescription drugs, you'll probably also want to enroll in a Part D plan. He goes on to say, Medicare Advantage, by contrast, is a one-stop shop. It usually includes a drug benefit in addition to other Medicare benefits, with cost sharing for services and prescriptions that vary from plan to plan. Medicare Advantage plans typically have low to zero premiums, aside from the Part B premium that most people pay in either version of Medicare. And they offer additional benefits, including dental, vision, hearing, transportation, and some have meal deliveries. Beware of the risks, is what he says. Yes, the traditional Medicare route is generally more expensive up front if you want to be fully covered. That's because you pay a monthly premium for a Medicare supplement plan, which can cost up to $200 or more, and add that to the premium for Part D. So Medigap policies will often protect you against large medical bills, like this lady Jerry, who's facing cancer now, if you need lots of care. In some cases, Medicare Advantage could end up being more expensive if you get seriously ill or injured, because copays can add up quickly. Even though they are typically capped each year, but can still cost you thousands of dollars. Medicare Advantage plans also typically have more limited provider networks, and the benefits they offer could be subject to restrictions. So there's a doctor, Mark Kalish, he's a retired psychiatrist, and he says he opted for traditional fee-for-service with a Medigap plan and a Part D because he did not want the Mother May I plan. I like that. He says, I'm 69 years old, so heart attacks happen cancer happens, and I want to be able to pick my own doctors and have the flexibility and the freedom to go where I want to go. So just keep that in mind for those of you that are listening out there. There is a distinct difference between a Medicare supplement versus a Medicare Advantage. And again, we will sit down with you and we will be your guide. We will share all the information with you so you can make an informed decision with a plan that's most suitable for you, not what's good for the agent's pocket or her pocketbook, but what's most appropriate and suitable for you.
Excellently said, Gary.
So, Tom, let's share some 10 Thanksgiving fun facts. And again, real quick before I do that, I know Jim wanted me to explain to all the veterans out there who may be listening to us this morning on our show. Listen, it's important that you get the right information. There's a lot of misinformation out there. But if you want the Medicare plain talk and straight talk, just call our office at 772-210-1020. If you have the best plan possible, we're going to let you know that. If we think that you're better off in a different plan, we're going to let you know that. But whether you're a veteran or you're not a veteran, we're going to treat you equally as our fans. We would treat our family. So certainly reach out to the experts at Owen Insurance Group, and we'll set you on the right path. So 10 Thanksgiving fun facts. Tom, you take number one.
Okay, the very first Thanksgiving was actually a 3-day affair. So it took place over 3 days. So Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, as we traditionally would have it. And my family in the past, it's been a 4-day affair: Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
You didn't take Monday?
No, we were covered on Monday. So we kind of went our separate ways, but just laid in bed and, I tried to shrink our stomachs.
All right. Number two. Colonists and Native Americans may not have had turkey at their feast. What? Gobble, 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 gobble. While most of us enjoy turkey as the centerpiece of our table, no one can say for sure whether it was even on the menu back in 1621. However, they did indulge in other foods like lobster, seal, swan. The Wampanoag, also, which is in Indians, also reportedly brought 5 deer to the celebration. If you also enjoy venison at your table, consider yourself perfectly aligned with a long-standing tradition. Where I come from in Pennsylvania, that happens very frequently.
Absolutely. Part of Plymouth, Massachusetts looks just like it did in the 1700s. So if you want to see what Thanksgiving was really like back in the 1600s, the historical attraction Plymouth Plantation stays true to its historical root. I think I went there as a kid. It was very cool.
I've never been there yet, so it certainly is on my bucket list. I've driven through Plymouth, but never stopped. Number 4, Thomas Jefferson refused to declare Thanksgiving a holiday. Presidents originally had to declare Thanksgiving a holiday every year up until Lincoln, my favorite president, made it a national holiday during his tenure. However, Jefferson refused to recognize the event because he believed so firmly in the separation of church and state. Number 5.
What a party pooper.
Yeah.
The woman behind Mary Had a Little Lamb is also responsible for Thanksgiving recognition as a national holiday. So that's Sarah Hale. She convinced President Abraham Lincoln to officially declare Thanksgiving a national holiday after 3 decades of persistent lobbying. Oh my goodness.
Bless her heart. Number 6, Americans prepare, are you ready for this? 46 million turkeys for Thanksgiving each year. Thanksgiving without turkey would be like Christmas without a tree, and most American families wouldn't dream of foregoing the almighty bird.
I love turkey.
Number 7.
Okay, only male turkeys actually gobble. That's because male.
I just learned about that this morning.
Yeah, if you've learned in preschool that a turkey goes gobble gobble, that's only halfway true because only male turkeys do that. Men are loud and gobbly.
Number 8, Americans eat an estimated 50 million pumpkin pies on Thanksgiving. 50 million pumpkin pies. All right, number 9.
Okay, Thanksgiving history isn't all sunny. before you tuck your turkey and stuffing, take a moment to remember that Thanksgiving didn't come about entirely peacefully. So there's a lot of things that took place there that may not be peaceful. You can read your history books to find out.
And number 10. For those of you who are out there in our listening audience who happen to be plumbers, this one's for you. Black Friday is the busiest day of the year for plumbers.
What goes in?
Thanks to all that food we gobble up on Thanksgiving and house guests stressing out the plumbing system, Roto-Rooter reports that kitchen drains, garbage disposals, and yes, toilets require more attention the day after Thanksgiving than any other day of the year. Before you join the legions paying a hefty holiday bill, you may want to remind your kitchen cleanup crew to scrape the plates before washing, and also may want to consider an outhouse for Thanksgiving Day
And
as
get
well.
that septic tank drained before Thanksgiving.
So before we close, I just want to wish each and every one of you a very happy Thanksgiving. Next week, we're going to have Joe Bonamo with us, JB AC and Electric, and Tom and I will continue the discussion about Medicare open enrollment and healthcare open enrollment as well. We truly thank you for watching us this morning and joining us on the airwaves. We hope you've enjoyed the show. If you have, please share us with your friends, family, and neighbors, and catch us on Facebook, the Quality of Life Radio Show as well. And remember, stay safe, keep healthy, be happy, and enjoy your quality of life.